So I believe that a lot of people are being misled by their priests and their pastors. And I want to please let me show you this, because if you read the Bible, and I apologize for my throat, I had an incident with an umbrella, no joke, it's neither here nor there, but I got punched in the Adam's apple by a damn umbrella, and yeah, it was actually scary. However, I want to talk about the Bible, and I want to use the Bible to explain that Yahweh, we shouldn't use, really, in my opinion, I don't pray to Yahweh. And I'll kind of explain why, you know. So in Exodus 13:21, okay, it specifically states that the Lord went before them as by day as a pillar of cloud, and along the way by night a pillar of fire. Okay, so by day a pillar of cloud, and by night a pillar of fire. That's Exodus 13:21. The Lord went before them by day. Now, first of all, think about this. The Lord went before them. And to fill you in on the story, Moses is having his people follow him out of the desert, and they've been lost. And now Yahweh is appearing, and he is leading them out of being lost. He's guiding them. Now, people forever have been praying to Yahweh, and, oh, Yahweh guided them. Well, let me explain something to you. Just based on that description, that does not sound like a man, okay? He appeared to them by a pillar of cloud by day and pillar of fire by night. And they're miles away, and they follow him for days. So, for days, let me get this straight. A man is appearing. First of all, you can't see a man from miles away. Number one. If a man is appearing somewhere, and why would he be appearing by a cloud by day and fire by night? That's not the description of a man. They followed him for days, so he was standing there. He just stood perfectly still as a cloud all day long. And at night he was fire all night long. That doesn't really make sense. Now, let's just go to Exodus 19:18, because in Exodus 19:18, it says, Mount Sinai was altogether in smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire. And the smoke ascended like the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. The whole mount quaked greatly. So, they're saying that a volcano erupted, and Yahweh was inside the volcano, apparently. That's what they're saying here. So they finally get there, and it's a volcano. I kind of think what's going on there is they weren't following a man in the beginning. They weren't following Yahweh. They were following a volcano because during the day, when a volcano's erupting, it is a cloud. It's a giant cloud. And at night, it's a giant thing of fire. And then when they got up to it, okay, they were still worshiping it, because this is what they worshipped back then, volcanoes. You have to understand, this description is not of a man. It's not Yahweh. And when people nowadays, we literally have Christians praying to Yahweh. This is an Old Testament deity that we're talking about. We're talking about volcanoes. Volcanoes used to be worshipped in the ancient world. Why? That's where, well, for one thing, that's where we get the word pyramid, okay? Pyramid. We get that from a volcano. Fire in the mid. It's a sexual reference, for one thing, and it's a volcanic reference. Okay, volcanoes were worshipped in the ancient world. Mount Sinai, another thing, look at the spelling of that word, Mount Sinai, okay? In the ancient world, Sin, you can look this up. Sin was a ancient god, a very, very ancient Arabian moon god, okay? And Ai was, in the ancient Sumerian language, Ai meant mountain. So what you have is moon god, mountain, or in most languages, everything is said kind of backwards or upside down, reverse, mountain of the moon god. It's not a holy place or a sacred mountain. It's old worship of old ancient gods and goddesses and all sorts of craziness, you know? And back then, they used to do all sorts of crazy shit. We could get into how Moses walked the Israelites through the desert and they were starving. Okay, they were starving. They needed food. They were desperate. And they prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And God answered them. And in the morning, after it rained, after a morning dew, they looked on the ground and there were round, flaky things that tasted like honey and coriander seed and that melted in your mouth. And they could collect a ton of them. They could collect them all morning. But by the time the sun came out, they vanished. What did those things sound like to you? Because to me, it sounds a lot like a mushroom. In the Bible, they were called manna in Exodus. And manna, M-A-N-N-A, in the ancient language means, what is it? That's literally what it meant. Manna, what is it? But that's why it's so well described in Exodus. Because they wanted to make sure that we know what it is. And in my opinion, it's very, very obviously a mushroom. Now, there are a lot of authors that have put out lots of books on this topic. John Allegro is one of them, but there are tons out there. But that's my little lesson for today is be careful who you're following. And if you want to do research, there's a lot of research out there. I suggest that you go out and do it. You got to understand, volcano worship, that goes all the way back to Volcanus, who was an ancient god. We got, Vulcan, who was the god of the volcano, all right? You have, like, pictures of Vulcan with lightning, and he was the, when he was in the volcano, there'd be lightning and thunder and fire and all of that. In Greek mythology, you had Hephaestus, okay? That was the god of the volcano, all right? Like, every age had gods of the volcano, all right? Even Hawaii, you got Pele or Pale or Pele or Peel. I don't know how the hell you pronounce it, okay? India, Agni, all the places had their gods and goddesses of the volcano. Like I said, they've been worshipped a long time. So when you start to learn that you're being just completely sold a story, all right, there are reasons why we have these stories, and they all mean something. Most of it goes back to the sky, and a lot of it goes back to ancient traditions and the way that everything works, the way that the sky works, the way that the sun works. Like, for example, okay, people talk about the wedding feast of Cana, where Jesus turned water into wine, and the story of the 2 fish turning into 1 million fish, and it's a big celebration. It's very similar to Noah's Ark in a sense, okay? 2 water celebrations. And what the hell am I talking about? Well, Noah's Ark. That goes back to the Ark of Noah. And that was an ancient celebration in ancient Egypt where it would rain and